whether you're pulling from retention or just holding your gun. You're going to create a lot of problems with your grip if the meaty portion of your hand isn't high in the tang of your gun. All right? So what I want everybody to do is hold their firearm with their non-dominant hand, just like I'm holding mine now. And I want you to take the web of your hand and insert it into the tang of the weapon and apply some pressure. Once that's complete, wrap my fingers around the appropriate area, leaving my trigger finger off the weapon system, right? Just like that. Now what I want you to do, now that you know where the tang is, now that you know where the meaty portion of your hand is, I want you to drop the weapon straight down to your side. Your firearm should form a generally straight line with your arm. Correct, incorrect, incorrect, incorrect. How you can fix your problems from the get-go is when you grab your weapon system out of retention or off the desk, make sure that the tang of your hand or the tang of the gun is in the meaty portion of your hand.
So like my meat actually like goes over the back of the gun. Like that's how hard I drive it. You can actually see the calluses from where the gun rides in my hand.
I should be in a relaxed position with my firearm in my dominant hand, and I should be able to look down and my gun should form a generally straight line. Okay? Now what I want you to do is I want you to take your gun and I want you to flip it over so that you're palm facing forward. And I want you to lift that thumb. Believe it or not, this thumb doesn't do a great deal. As a matter of fact, sometimes I wish I could cut it off, because with involuntary muscle squeeze within your hands or grip, you have to train one finger to do one thing. The tang of your hand is still high. Now everybody's got to figure out what to do with this sandwich clamp. What does this guy do? We get a lot of questions. This guy needs to cover as much real estate as humanly possible. When I flip my gun over and I have him palm facing forward, nothing is changing but the lifting of the thumb. I can take the other meaty portion, palm of my hand, and marry it up. You're going to have slight deviations with thumb and hand size. But if you'll notice, if I just press my hand on top and I rotate my hand back and forth, that's where you're going to figure out where you get your grip. If I'm too far forward, I've created a gap. Can everybody see the gap in my hands? If I rotate too far to the rear, then I'm violating most of the space of the other. Only one hand can cover one portion of real estate. So we have to marry our hands up, and we teach thumbs forward firing, because this is natural. Even with one hand offset, I can still do that. So we're trying to marry up our hands to that position. Get your hands in that position. Once you've done that,
you can take your non-dominant hand, your support hand, and you can push your thumb as far forward as you can. That's almost where your hand's going to be. Almost. Give or take a couple of degrees. So take your non-shooting hand and drive that motherfucker forward.
Okay, what do we do with the remainder of our digits? We are going to find occupying space in between fingers. So it shouldn't be finger on finger, because I still, with these fingers, want to get as high up on the gun as I can. What's going to stop it? The trigger guard's going to stop it. However, I find that because my hands are slightly offset, that they can occupy the space in between where a finger would go if I had 10 fingers or 4 fingers on one hand. So that being said, when you guys go home tonight and you're practicing with a cleared weapon in a safe environment, that's what you should be doing. This is going to translate to success when you draw from retention. So when I draw from retention, this is my stability, my supporting hand when I get set when I'm practicing without a holster my grip. Because this allows me to press my hand into it, generally straight line, flip it over, thumb up, occupy real estate, flip hand back over, wrap fingers. Now I'm good to go. This is the problem you're going to run into, and I won't want you to start getting into a negative muscle memory habit. A long time ago, police officers and military alike were taught to shoot by raising the gun directly up in front of their face. We're losing one of the biggest key components to grip, which is grip. If you cannot form a vise with your hands and the fulcrum when you push forward, as it creates pressure on the back of your hands, and I want you to drive your gun directly out and feel that pressure. Now, once you've done that, I want you to drop that gun directly down in front of you and relax your arms and hands, maintaining your grip. Now I want you to raise your firearm and tell me if you can feel any positive enforcement on that gun. Yes or no? Absolutely not. That's why it's important to start from chest and push out to create the vise. You'll know the exact point and firmness of your gun that you need to have if you will take your firearm and push it out and grip it as hard as you can. It should be shaking. Now make it not shake by alleviating just a little bit of pressure until it's steady. So know the difference between gripping too much, over gripping, and under gripping, and how you can create that grip, but only by starting from a position where you can push your hands into the vise. So we should be pushing out from here, trying to make our gun go out like a straight laser beam. If I'm doing this, I'm incorrect. If I'm doing this, and this usually occurs from the holster, this is called bowling, and this is called fishing. Gunfights are in increments of seconds and milliseconds, right? So, the longer I take doing this crap with my gun, the more time it takes to get on target. If I can learn to drive that gun directly out where it's level or parallel with the marching surface, it's going to allow me to acquire my sights and the target more quickly. When you guys are doing it, if you haven't been checked, I want you to start from the 3 position to presentation, working on your grip, and let an instructor go by and check your stance and your grip and all that other jazz. Now, just because you're focused on your grip right now, don't forget what your feet, knees, hips, and the rest of your body should be doing, along with your head. If I walk by and I tell you to relax your shoulders or your head, that means you're turtling it. You're trying to get aggressive, and you're pushing your head and your shoulders together. So Jeremiah, tell me to relax my shoulders.
Relax your shoulders.
Tell me to relax my head.
Relax your head.
If I provide undue and unnecessary consternation on my shoulder and neck and head, I'm going to be fighting my muscles. I'm already busy trying to fight the gun to get on target. I need to relax. We don't walk around like this, do we? It's unnatural. I mean, some people learn to march in the army like that, but what I'm trying to say is, it should be natural from your shoulders up. You don't want that to move a great deal. Nothing is going to absorb recoil in your head, neck, and or back of your shoulders. So there's no need to get aggressive in that nature that much, all right?